Welcome back to the Lemon Factor. I'm Chad, and today I am going to go over the top 7 things I like most about the ND Mazda Miata. If you're looking to purchase an ND Mazda Miata, or if you already have an ND Mazda Miata and you'd like to compare notes, then stay tuned. Before we proceed, please don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, like and share, and post a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. So these are my top 7 things I like the most about our 2019 Mazda Miata MX-5 RF. I've had this car just shy, but almost a year now, and I've loved every minute. So to narrow it down to a top 7 took a little bit of time and effort for me to do so. And by the way, I'm gonna throw in a bonus at the end for you. If you currently own an ND Mazda Miata, let me know what you think of the list. Give me a comment below. Let me know if I've missed something that you felt is significant. Viewers who are considering the ND Mazda Miata, these are my top favorite things about this car, and I hope that this helps you in deciding whether or not the ND Mazda Miata is the right car for you. Starting with number 1 is the looks. This car looks fantastic. And although the Mazda Miata has been a great driver's car over the past 30 years, I think with the 2016 model year, the ND Mazda Miata, the looks have really matured a lot and have given it some nice edges to the body. This car looks great from the front, the sides, the back, and the top. The first time I saw this car, specifically a machine gray, like we have here, in an RF, a retractable fastback, I was in love with this car. So number 2 on my list of top 7 things I like most about the ND Mazda Miata would have to be the fact that it comes with a manual transmission. According to Edmunds, only 13% of vehicles sold in the United States are even offered in a manual transmission. And that is a significant decrease compared to just 10 years ago, where it was 37%. So the number of manual transmission vehicles out there are dwindling. If you enjoy the engagement of driving with manual transmission, you better get a car soon with one, otherwise they're going to be extinct. Not only do I appreciate the fact that Mazda offered the Miata with a manual transmission, but it's a very good manual transmission at that. The shifter is very precise, it has short engagements, it is very smooth, as well as the clutch pedal. It is not overly heavy, it has a very nice engagement point, and even in regular commuter traffic, it's not a chore to drive this car. So it reminds me of the old days when I had a 1999 Acura Integra GSR. I love that car, and one of the big reasons why I liked it, amongst many, was how enjoyable it was to drive that manual transmission. And this 2019, 20 years go by, this 2019 Mazda Miata brings back that enjoyment for me. On to number 3 would have to be the fact that the ND, specifically the ND2 Mazda Miata, has a redline, a variable redline of between 7,200 to 7,500 RPM, which is great. I love high revving engines. It provides very linear power delivery all the way up to the redline, almost all the way up to the redline, and who can't love that? For those of you considering purchasing an ND Mazda Miata, Take a look at the video I did of the full car review. I'll post a link in the description below. Also, you can go to the channel and check out some of the other videos I've done. A couple weeks ago, I did complete a video on the top 7 things I dislike the most about the ND Mazda Miata. So to get a fully rounded perspective and make sure that you have the information that you need to make a decision regarding whether the Miata is the right car for you, take a look at the full review and take a look at the video in which I identify the top 7 things I dislike. And then along with this video, you should have the information that you need in order to make a decision. The 4th thing on my list would have to be the engine and exhaust note. I am really impressed for a stock car, for a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, how well this car sounds. Early on, I did a video on the stock exhaust. Mazda really tuned this really well, and of course you have a plethora of aftermarket exhaust to pick from should you want a little higher volume or a little beefier tone. But right out of the showroom floor, this car sounds really good and I'm super impressed by it. So for those of you considering purchasing an ND Mazda Miata, what do you think of the list so far? Have you heard what you're looking for? Are there some things that you're trying to find out about the Miata that you haven't heard yet? And if we get through the list and you still have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the description below. I do my best to respond to all comments, and I'm more than happy to share with you my experience with this terrific car after almost a year of ownership. Number 5 would have to be the suspension. This is a personal favorite of mine. This is what makes this car so enjoyable to drive. It communicates so well with the driver. Does it have extremely high limits? No, not really. But what it does have is that communication that lets you know as you're reaching those limits. So you can make those small adjustments to your driving angle, to the braking, to the acceleration, all to control the car in a much better way than you would find in any other vehicle. And sure, you can upgrade the suspension, the tires, the brakes on this car to elevate its performance even more, but right out of the box, it does instill confidence in the driver. It will help you become a better driver in this car, and it will provide you with loads of fun learning how to drive this car. We're almost done, so stay with me. On to number 6, and number 6 has to be the gas mileage. Sure, this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder vehicle. It should get good gas mileage, and it really does. It gets 27 miles to the city and 35 on the highway, but you can easily get in the 40 miles per gallon when cruising at a constant speed. I'm really impressed by the gas mileage this car gets, and it only adds to the enjoyment of the vehicle. We're at number 7, our last but not least on our list of top 7 things I like most about the ND Mazda Miata. And don't forget, I'm going to throw in a bonus right after this one. Number 7 would have to be the price point for this vehicle. You get a great car for arguably a great price. You can purchase a base model soft top, brand new 2020 Mazda Miata for mid to high 20,000. And it goes all the way up to probably the mid 30s for an RF version, depending on how you spec it out. That is a really good price point for what you get for this car. And if it's still high for you, consider purchasing a used one. A used 1 to 2 year old Mazda Miata, you can easily buy for the low 20s. So I promised you a bonus. So this is the bonus, and I would say this is pretty significant. And it would have to do with the aftermarket support you get when you purchase an ND Miata. And this is the case for any of the 4 generations of the Mazda Miata. There's numerous aftermarket companies out there to support this car, including Fly Miata, Goodwin Racing, Mazda Miata, just to name a few. In addition to companies like those that provide aftermarket parts, there's also a lot of local clubs that you can find. And unlike some other clubs that I've experienced, the camaraderie that you find with the Mazda Miata ownership is like none that I've experienced in the past. It's really a community that shares a love for a car and really a respect for the vehicle as well. This is a really popular car if you want to start autocrossing. It handles extremely well. It is lightweight. It's a great driver's car, and it's a great car to learn on. So if you're considering trying out autocross, or even if you are an autocrosser and you're looking for a different vehicle, this is extremely popular and one that I think you should consider. So there you have it. Those are my top 7 things I like most about the ND Mazda Miata.